What's up, guys? Swift here covering everything Chicago Bears. And I promised you guys I would update you on our list of top 30 visits. And I wanted to show off what our depth chart looks like heading into the NFL draft. Today, I'll do both of those. Let's go ahead and get right into it. First off, let me show off our updated list of top 30 visits. If you missed my earlier report, the Bears have 30 interviews they can do with draft prospects. These are longer interviews where they can meet with players at Hallis Hall. Those 30 visits really get going this week, with pro days coming to an end. The new guys listed here that weren't on my list last update are Penn State defensive end Chop Robinson, Texas's speed burner Xavier Worthy, and Kansas State tight end Ben Sinnott. Three more players that I really like. We also got confirmation on Twitter that Caleb Williams finished up his top 30 visit with the Bears yesterday. He was in town for 2 days, having dinner with the Bears brass on Tuesday night and having his top 30 visit on Wednesday. The Bears have finally gotten Caleb Williams' medicals. The non-story of the year can officially be put to bed. And then next up is Washington receiver Rome Odunze, who's scheduled to have his top 30 visit tomorrow. Overall, this is just 14 of the 30 total visits that the Bears can conduct at Hallis Hall, but more should be getting announced soon. Okay, now let's switch gears and take a look at the Chicago Bears depth chart on offense and defense heading into the NFL draft. I've went ahead and penciled in Caleb Williams on offense. Obviously, we won't know that for sure until the NFL draft day, but I think it's a pretty safe bet at this point. I've left who we take at number 9 open. So that's kind of the focus when looking at this depth chart here is what is our biggest need? On offense, I have DeAndre Swift as our starting running back, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen at wide receiver, and I've went ahead and switched up from normally listing 3 wide receivers to listing 2 receivers and 2 tight ends. I think we may use a lot more 2 tight end formations with Shane Waldron this year, and currently we don't have a third receiver worth listing as a starter. Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett are both good enough to be starting tight ends in the NFL. And then I have our offensive line penciled in like this: Braxton Jones at left tackle, Tevin Jenkins at left guard, Coleman Shelton as our starting center, with Nate Davis at right guard, and Darnell Wright at right tackle. I think this is a pretty safe bet to be our offensive line, with Ryan Bates being the first guy off the bench. I have a detailed breakdown on our offensive line coming tomorrow. Watch out for that one. But then looking at the defense here, we have Montez Sweat and DeMarcus Walker at defensive end, Jervon Dexter and Andrew Billings at defensive tackle, with Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards at linebacker, Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, and Kyler Gordon at cornerback, and Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker at safety. This defense looks pretty good. This will be with Jack Sanborn as our top backup at linebacker, Zach Pickens as our top backup on the defensive line, Terrell Smith as a backup at cornerback, and we have Jonathan Owens and Elijah Hicks at safety as backups. We can even move over for a minute and look at the entire roster so you can kind of see what's going on with the backups as well. The Bears also signed 2 pieces to the defensive line over the last few weeks that weren't big names. I mentioned them, but I haven't talked about them much. We brought in Jake Martin, a defensive end, and Byron Coward, a defensive tackle. This is what our backups would look like currently. And I have our special teamers listed over here as well. Velus Jones Jr. is currently penciled in as our starting kick returner. Dante Pettis is our starting punt returner. And our core special teamers are Jalen Jones, Josh Blackwell, the new linebacker we signed, Amen O, and running back Travis Homer. And then we'll switch back to the offense to look at the backups there. Tyson Bagent is our QB2, with Brett Rippon as QB3. Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson both fighting for that running back 2 job. And then currently a wide receiver, other than DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, we have Tyler Scott, Velus Jones Jr., Dante Pettis, and Colin Johnson. We definitely need more receivers added to the roster. We currently need a tight end 3. And then I have Larry Borum as our swing tackle right now, with Ryan Bates as our swing interior lineman. And then we have a couple other guys on the line as well. Recently signed Matt Pryor, who's fighting for the backup tackle job, Jake Curran, who's fighting for a backup guard job, who I think is a long shot to make the roster. Overall, I just kind of wanted to show off what our depth chart looked like. When looking at the offense, I think it's clear we need another receiver, maybe two. We definitely need a third tight end. We could use another defensive end and defensive tackle as well. But then the offensive line is going to be a focus here. Right now, I think our starting offensive line looks pretty good, and I'm going to go into a lot more detail about our offensive line tomorrow night. I have a special breakdown coming on that. But let's just look at our starters on this entire roster real quick. Let's go back to this. Overall, Ryan Poles has done a great job, and this roster is finally taking shape. Just kind of setting back and looking at our overall depth chart from afar, and there's clearly not as many big holes on the roster as there have been in the last few seasons. The rebuild is finally almost over. The foundation that Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and even myself talked about for the last 2 years is finally in place. And this is it. We're looking at it on the screen right now. This is the foundation of an actual contender in the NFC North. And this isn't even done yet. We still have pick number 9, pick number 75, pick number 122, and months of free agency and trades that can still happen as well. The offseason isn't over yet, but we're sitting here in early April, 3+ weeks before the draft. And this is what our projected depth chart looks like right now if we take Caleb Williams at number 1 overall. And honestly, just with that pick and not making any other moves, our roster is not in a bad spot overall. Obviously, there's still a lot of places where I want to upgrade. I'm picky. I'm always looking for competition at every position in a way to get better and better and make this team into a championship caliber roster. And I believe right now we're on track to do that. Take a look at this depth chart. Let me know where you guys think our biggest hole is on the entire roster. To me, I think it's still pretty clear. We need another wide receiver, we need another defensive end, and we could use help on the offensive line. But other than that, this roster is starting to look really good, and I can't wait to watch them in action this year. But even more importantly, I can't wait to get to the NFL draft. Let me know what you guys think. I always love hearing what you guys have to say. Please remember to hit that like button for me. Stay tuned. I have a ton more content on the way. If you missed my Caleb Williams advanced statistics video last night, be sure to check that one out. It's a must watch. And until next time, guys, bear down.